Hey, what's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be breaking all of the Call of Duties that has ever been made by Activision. It's a lot of Call of Duty, so I'm just gonna hop right into it. I think we should start off easily by just getting rid of the ones I have not played. So the first one, the second one, and then the third one, I've all pretty much not played. I mean, I've heard the campaign is pretty good. Pretty much it was the only campaign, but I mean, maybe I get around to playing it one day. But I mean, maybe it's good, but I'm just gonna put that in never played since I never played it. Alright, moving on to Black Ops 4 here. This is a very interesting game in my opinion because, I mean, it didn't release without a campaign. Instead, we have Blackout instead with, and like that special kind of missions thing, which was not really a lot of people played. To me, I really enjoyed this game. It's very fast paced, especially when considered to like the other Call of Duties. It's very much fast paced in the multiplayer, and the zombies, it was alright. I mean, it was a step down from Black Ops 3. Um, to me, and the Easter eggs weren't as good, especially Blood. But to me, I still think it holds up really well, and I think it's kind of underrated. Um, I guess in the community and everything. So I guess if I had to put a spot, I'd put it in A tier. I mean, it was definitely actually no, I'm gonna drop down to B tier. I mean, it was good, but I mean, there was just a number of issues that kind of held the game back that could be a lot better. Alright, now moving on to the next Call of Duty in this list, we have Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Now this game is really interesting. It was made like after COVID. I was really surprised with like how the devs made it and everything, like being able to work from home. And I remember this, playing this so much while I was during school. It was an interesting game. I mean, it had your normal campaign, multiplayer zombies, but it had a different takes on things. I mean, the score streak system was something I really did not enjoy. I mean, the streaks were good, but just the actual system itself, where just deaths weren't included, was just something I really did not enjoy. But I didn't like, I guess, overall the change in like the zombies and how it was a little bit more different. It was definitely easier, which is something I guess you compared to that. And the Cold War was it was alright. I mean, I didn't like the story, but I guess to me, if I had to place it in a spot, I'd say maybe B tier as well. I mean, there was a number of issues, but to me, I kind of seemed it was like on par with Black Ops 4. Um, And yeah, I mean, I felt the guns were pretty overall well balanced. I mean, there was some couple outliers like the Tech 9 or whatever, but I feel like this is a good spot because it's a great game. I'll just hop on and play every now and then. All right, now moving on to the next Call of Duty here, we have Call of Duty Mobile. Now this one's really interesting. I guess if you compare it and look at all the Call of Duties, because I mean, obviously it's a mobile game, so you are able to play it, everywhere. And I feel like the take on this one, instead of having like a certain theme, like where it's a by its particular era, this one has like a good mix of all the Call of Duty maps and guns, and kind of just like this huge mosh pit of just really fun stuff. And it's also free too. And I played this a couple times. I got in a couple nukes. I played the Blackout Battle Royale, which is really fun. At least when I tried it. I haven't played it recently, but to me, honestly, I have to give this an A tier rating. The guns are really well balanced, and the perks, and it was just I feel like a really nice mix. Um, and there was like a lot of cosmetics, but to be honest, I mean, you kind of expect that if the game is free as well. And it's just I feel like it's almost like the perfect Call of Duty. I feel like not a lot of people talk about this as well. It's really, really unique in its own way, Um, and there's a lot of really good people in this game too. I mean, I've just kind of picked it up every now and then, but it's really good. And I feel like it's really underrated, especially with how it was kind of made and how it's unique. So to me, I'm gonna give this an A tier rating. All right, now moving on to the most recent Call of Duty or Modern Warfare 2. I don't know. To me, I'm not really feeling this game honestly. I don't know what it is. To me, I just feel like it's kind of like maybe I'm just kind of not used to the modern era, but I feel like Warzone 2 was kind of a huge step down from Warzone 1, and I know it feels like it's been going downhill ever since. I mean, to me, one of the biggest things ever with this game was the movement, right? I mean, they changed moving up, made it super slow at ADS. To be honest, I don't know why, because it's not like someone people asked for that. Um, it's just they really changed the movement up, and they made it way less aggressive, and just you're able to sit back and camp more. But just I think it should be a viable strategy, but to me in this game, it's just not worth it at all. Not, and it's just not good. One thing I will say is I do kind of like the maps in this game, although we didn't really have a lot. I do think the maps play well, especially the new ones added for Season 3. I think those kind of add well. So, I mean, I'd say right now I'd give it a C tier. Just because I feel like the multiplayer really stepped back, and Spec Ops is good, but it's also Spec Ops. It's not really too much, and I feel like they haven't really delved too much into that compared to, like, if they had the zombie season or something. So to me, I'll give it a C tier here. I mean, if they change the game up a lot, because I mean it's still in its life cycle, so if something does change, then maybe it can see it being buffed up to me. But I just see it C tier as just not really the best Call of Duty in my opinion. Okay, now moving on to Modern Warfare 2019. This game was almost like a change into a new era, right? It was right after Black Ops 4. And to me, it's where we first seen Warzone. It was just the most, I guess, realistic take on a Call of Duty ever, right? Remember, we seeing the trailers. It was really nice to see how much attention to detail was in this game, right? And I guess also the gunsmith was something really unique that I kind of really enjoyed. And it's been in every single Call of Duty since. So to me, I felt like it introduced a lot to this game. The number one thing, though, I'd say is just that the camping and the maps weren't really the best. I mean, you were able to play and maneuver them, but it was just a very slow Call of Duty. Um, it's not very fast paced, especially not like Black Ops 4 or any of the Treyarch games, right? So to me, I think I'd give it an A tier. To me, I feel like it's a really solid game overall, especially the multiplayer, like with Search and Destroy. It's probably one of the best ever in the franchise, just because the maps kind of complement that well. But in it's like a 6v6 kind of pattern or whatever, it just doesn't really hold up as well. The campaign was really strong. I really enjoyed that. And then I also really enjoyed Spec Ops as well, although it was kind of short. Didn't really match up as well, but to me, I don't think it was too much of an issue. I felt like multiplayer was a lot bigger and stronger. Okay, so moving on to the next Call of Duty, we have Call of Duty Vanguard, and in my opinion, I'm just gonna say this pretty much right off the bat. This is an F tier game. To me, I was just so disappointed in this. It was made after Cold War, which I can kind of give like a little bit of leeway, right? Because it was made during COVID, and just everything was a lot more challenging that year. But to me, this game just did not hold up to that better at all. I don't know if it was just the time period, but the multiplayer was just really over complex, especially with the gunsmith. There was like you can add 10 attachments to a gun, a perk, and to me it was just too much, and it made the balance really skewed, especially with most of the guns, right? I did feel like the maps were okay though, but to me, just the gunplay was really holding it back in this game, especially the time to kill, is right? Because you die in 2 bullets, and it doesn't really make it as fun as well. Also, the mission campaign was just, I guess, mid tier at best. It was nothing really too crazy, something that I can always forget. But then you have, honestly, the worst thing that I think they ever introduced was the zombies, which I played literally only like twice. It is so bad compared to any of those zombies games they made. It's just not good. This remastered stuff to me was very rushed, and I don't even know what they were trying to go with the story. It was just very confusing, very overly complex, and the gameplay was not fun. So I think it can stay in the F tier here. Okay, so now moving on to Warzone 1. See, I feel like this game kind of holds a little bit of a special place in my heart because it was made on my birthday, March 10th. So, I don't know, I feel like it was a really hype, I guess, first thing about this because I really enjoyed Blackout and Black Ops 4. Prestige Master, and I grinded that so much. But to me, I really did enjoy it. I really enjoyed the Verdansk era of Warzone, I would say, but I really did not enjoy the Caldera version of it. Because to me, they introduced a lot of stuff. They made that kind of held the game back. I don't know if it was just something if I'm blinded by nostalgia or if it's just some other factor. But to me, it does not feel, or Caldera version of Warzone does not feel the same as Verdansk. I think it was part of that. It was just the guns too, right? So I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like after you add 90 plus guns, that would be hard to balance one of them. But I guess to me at that point, it's just like only maybe 10 guns are being used, so it really kind of makes it stale. But especially, I mean, it was good, really good in this era, and I did enjoy it, especially during like when it was only Modern Warfare weapons, and maybe a little bit of the Cold War weapons too. To me, I don't know where exactly I'd rate this, but I'd rate it an A's here. It's great. It was great during its time, but to me, it started to slowly go downhill as I started to introduce more stuff. Okay, so the next Call of Duty we have is Call of Duty World War II. And when I first think of Call of Duty World War II, I just think of the really bad announcers and just the whole, like pretty much all the maps being 3-lane maps. Maybe if there are a couple of DLC ones that aren't, but to me, I feel like this game is just really bland, especially with the score streaks too. And I didn't really mind the basic trainings that much. I just felt like they could have maybe just delved it out a little bit more, made it a little bit more enjoyable to play. Especially after they kind of revamped the game, like after 8 months into it, it started to become a lot better to play. But to me, I felt like it was a lot too late and kind of already, lowered the game down. But I will say the campaign was really nice, especially D-Day being the first mission. It was a very kind of like very nice image to reveal out. And zombies was okay. It wasn't really anything too crazy. Kind of just something forgettable. The gameplay was alright, but the story's kind of worse, so it was kind of mid. But to me, I'll just rate it a B here. Okay, so next Call of Duty we have here is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. And this is the first, I guess, take to have on the futuristic version of guess, movement, right? The exosuits. And I know a lot of people did not like it, but I actually kind of enjoyed it a little bit. I really enjoyed the movement and like the futuristic take they had on the guns and the score streaks. Also to mention, I really did enjoy the streaks customizations. I feel like nobody ever talks about it, but to me, I really enjoyed that part. And it's something I wish they kind of, I guess, took part into the newer Call of Duties, right? To be able to add certain attachments to it, your score streaks, and be able to make them better or worse, easier to get, whatever. Which is something I really feel like not a lot of people talk about. But the maps are okay. I mean, there's nothing really too crazy about it. The guns were also really just creative, in my opinion. The campaign was kind of funny. With irons and everything, with Kevin Spacey, how that turned out. But, and the zombies was kind of bad. It wasn't really too crazy, and it was kind of cliched, very predictable. So to me, I'd give it a C tier. It's really enjoyable, I guess. But to me, the multiplayer was pretty good. But besides that, everything else is kind of mid. So I feel like C tier is like a nice in-between spot. Okay, so moving on to the next Call of Duty, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And I'm just gonna draw this out here. I think this is an immediate S plus tier game. To me, this game was like almost my childhood, if you think about it. This game was just perfect in every single way it can almost possibly be. The campaign was amazing with how you can have multiple endings, and with Woods and Mason. It was just a extremely nice take, especially with the overall, I guess, time it takes place in, with this near futuristic in 2025. I think it's really nice, and also I think it should remaster it as well. The multiplayer arguably had one of the best gun balances in the game. Just a lot of memorable guns, right? Like the M27, the Scar H, the AN94, DSR, Ballista. All those guns are just, even today, they're just one of the best guns ever, and just everything's super balanced well. The maps are really nice. The score streaks I felt like were really nice, especially the high tiers, kill streaks and all that. The only thing I will say is just didn't really have a callable nuke, which is something I really do kind of enjoy. But to me, this game is just perfect, and zombies as well was just, to me, it had a rough start. Maybe with Transit, it was a nice idea, just didn't really work out. But then it's added Mob of the Dead and Origins, just one of the best maps ever. To me, Black Ops 2 is just almost an S plus tier. It's just almost the height of phase. All of the big multiplayer was extremely popular back then. To be honest, I feel like this is almost just like the peak of Call of Duty. So to me, I think this is an easy S plus tier. Just deserves everything. This game was almost pitch perfect. Okay, so now moving on to Black Ops 1, the prequel to Black Ops 2. I guess technically, I guess it was made that way, but to me, I have to give this game an S. It's a really good game. To me, it's very similar to Black Ops 2. The campaign was really nice, especially in that kind of Cold War era. Multiplayer, to me, it was alright. I really did enjoy the multiplayer, but a lot of the sounds was just, to me, it just felt like the sounds just weren't as good. The kill streaks were pretty good. The Blackbird, especially, I really did enjoy. But to me, it's just the game, the sounds of it. I feel like the shotguns and explosions sound all very similar. And to me, I did not really enjoy that much. But to me, the maps kind of helped to bring it back up a lot, especially with Nuketown and introduced Nuketown, which is arguably one of the best maps ever. And the zombies was also, you had one of the best zombies maps ever. You had Moon, Kino, just really good maps and remasters in it as well. Just very nostalgic to me as well. So I think S tier is just a great spot to put it at. Okay, so now moving on to the next Call of Duty, you have Call of Duty Ghost. And to me, I don't know, this game's kind of weird, because the multiplayer was it was just, I did like the multiplayer. I really liked kind of like your loadout, right? And so like, especially with the what do you call it, specialist, I really did enjoy that. That you can become almost a super soldier and you can have practically almost every single perk. But to me, the problem that really just let this game down was just the time to kill and how people camp. And I feel like part of that is just the maps too, right? Like Stonehaven is just not a 6v6 map. This is a very campy map. But to me, I felt like this game would have been a lot better if they kind of just increased the TTK a little bit and maybe just made the maps a little bit more just not as campy. Just so it doesn't feel like everyone's just not rocking a thermal in the corner of the map, But I feel like this game, it had potential, but to me, it was kind of being held back by a lot of that stuff, right? And then Extinction was kind of a nice try, but to me, after like 5 attempts, it's all kind of the same, and you get bored of it, right? And then the campaign was just kind of ended on the cliffhanger, so it wasn't really that memorable either. Like, when I think of a Call of Duty campaign, I don't think of Ghost, right? So I feel like this game is kind of being held back a lot, so I'd give it either a C and a D tier. Shoot, let me think here. I'll give it a C tier because no multiplayer wasn't. Now I drop it to a D tier. It's just I really did enjoy this game, but yeah, there's just a lot holding it back. Okay, so now moving on to the next Call of Duty, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and to me this is almost an S tier game, probably above Black Ops, just because the campaign was really nice. I guess because it ended the Modern Warfare trilogy, right? It was just really enjoying at the very end. It's kind of see price and everything. The part I really enjoyed this is the multiplayer. This is probably one of my favorite multiplayers ever, behind Black Ops 2. To me, I guess with the 3 specialist strikes or whatever, you had assault, support, and specialist. It was just really nice, especially with specialists, to get those Moabs, right? It was just insanely satisfying. The maps were pretty nice. It was about above average for a Call of Duty map. It had some really nice ones. And then Spec Ops is also really nice. Like survival is also really memorable. Something I really enjoyed as a kid. It's definitely one of your better like Spec Ops, I'd say. As a Call of Duty. So I really did enjoy this. Just a lot kind of jam packed into this. It was really fun. And to me, it felt like you had each play style like relevant. Yeah, like you can pick up a sniper, you could snipe, you can also like I guess lay back a little bit low, right, and kind of play a little bit more observant and get some kills. But you could also really rush around, especially with like the ACR, the MP7. It was really nice, it felt really smooth. So to me, with that, I'll give it an S tier. Okay, so now moving on to the OG COD 4. To me, I don't know. I feel like this might be a little bit controversial, but to me, I feel like I'll give this a B tier. I mean, the campaign it did like kind of like change gaming almost in a sense, right? Because it's just how it almost kind of created Call of Duty. But to me, I feel like it was you can't really compare it to today, just because of almost how bare bones it is now, right? Like you only have 3 kill streaks, the guns were pretty much limited, and I feel like the balance is also not really that good, right? Like see, either in Juggernaut or what do you call it, Stopping Power. The maps were good though, something I really did enjoy. But to me, it's like not having Flak Jacket just made nade spams really annoying. It was just there wasn't a third mode either. But you also can't really blame it since it was like almost one of the first Call of Duties. So to me, I think B is just a good spot because it kind of helped build the rest of the series up. But it didn't really have anything too special, right? Like I couldn't play this like for the rest of my life and be like satisfied, if you know what I mean, right? So I think B is a good spot. It's a great Call of Duty. It kind of knows the backbone, right? But to me, it's still, was a work in progress. Didn't have much. So I think this is a good spot. Okay, so now moving on to next Call of Duty. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 from 2009. This Call of Duty is really interesting, in my opinion. The campaign is probably one of the best campaigns ever, one of the most remarkable, especially for like that terminal mission. Just killing Shepard at the end is incredible, and then the multiplayer was also jam-packed fun. Everything was like super unbalanced, but that's kind of what made it fun, right? Just that you can kind of pick up almost any class and have fun with it. You could YouTube from across the map. You could pick up a stash shotgun, the intervention, one of the most iconic snipers ever. Just a lot of memorable stuff. The streaks were incredibly overpowered, and also introduced the nukes for the first time. So I feel like to me, it's even today, it's something I just always pick up and always have just a blast of fun, right? Because everything just felt overpowered. You're able to rush around. You're able to play almost any way you wanted to, in the lobbies especially too, which is really fun and just really jam-packed. One thing I will say, the Spec Ops I didn't really care for it too much, but to me, to me, it's just an S+ tier game, by far, because the multiplayer is just probably one of the best multiplayers ever, like with Black Ops 2. Okay, so looking at the next Call of Duty, we have Call of Duty World at War, the OG one made right after Modern Warfare. To me, this game is very similar to that, and like it's kind of bare bones, if you know what I mean, right? So you only had 3 streaks. You had World War guns, right? So it was a little bit different take. But to me, it just still feel like it was lacking a lot of like content compared to what we have now, which is now is something you can't really blame it for, right? Because this is like 2008. So I feel like in that sense it was kind of being held back. But also, do you remember the maps in this game were like god tier, just one of the best maps ever, and I feel like it doesn't really get enough credit for that. And the campaign was also incredible for during its time. Just especially very nostalgic to play the end. So to me, I'll place it right in the B tier, right? I think it can hold its own, right? But I guess if you look back at it, is maybe one A or S tier. But I guess now to me, let's look at it. I feel like I wouldn't pick it up because just to me, it felt like it was kind of bare bones and still missing a lot of stuff. Okay, so now we have Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now this one's gonna be I have a lot for this game. So obviously, a lot of people do not like this game. The campaign, the multiplayer, like everything of it, and I kind of have to say I kind of have to disagree a little bit. The multiplayer was really fun to me. It was definitely not as good as something as like Advanced Warfare, in my opinion, for the multiplayer, but I feel like it still kind of holds its own. The maps were kind of just generic. You had a lot of remasters as well. But to me, I really like the equipment in this game, the perks. I feel like that kind of held up well. And this one was kind of a little bit similar to Advanced Warfare. Now you can have like the customizable kill streaks or whatever. So I feel like that part of it was really nice to it as well. I just feel like a lot of this game is also very similar to Black Ops 3. Like almost too similar. And I feel like it didn't really change much as well too. So I feel like in that sense, it's like, why would I play this? Why would I play Black Ops 3? So to me, I'll place it in the D tier. I don't know. The multiplayer was good, I'll admit. But the campaign and then the side mode as well just wasn't. I heard Aliens in Space was good, but other than that, I feel like a lot of the maps are just kind of just meh, and I feel like I can just kind of pass off and play another Call of Duty. So I'll just leave it right there. Okay, y'all. So now moving on to Black Ops 3. To me, this game had a lot going for it. The multiplayer is obviously one of the best. Like however, for like a futuristic kind of take, the guns and especially the movement was really nice. It was all really balanced. To me, I felt like the special ops was also kind of tailored as well. I mean, the simplest one was a little bit overpowered, but to me, I feel like every single one kind of fit its unique role and kind of play style as well. The maps were also really kind of nice, and it was nice to run around and kind of snipe. And to me, you had your variability, right? One of the things to me that really drew this game back was the supply drops. See, to me, even today, I still don't have some of the guns that are locked behind it. To me, it's just something I wish they'd never do again, just locking guns behind paywalls. Something I really hated about the game. But other than that, I feel like it was a really solid Call of Duty for like a futuristic take. Really nice overall. And the zombies, I'd say, it's honestly really kind of is really good too. Um, Story is nice with the gobblegums, right? It's very chillax, and especially now with like how I guess popular custom zombies has gotten, of how that platformers came out. It's honestly really nice. Seen a lot of unique maps as well. I feel like this is overall pretty good. It's a very great game. Don't think to me that the campaign was really bad. This is the worst campaign pretty much ever in Call of Duty. So to me, I'll place it in S tier. It was really nice. It's a very nice game. And it had a lot going for it, but to me, the campaign kind of held it down, and especially the supply drop. So to me, I think S tier is a good spot. Okay, so here is my ranking of all the Call of Duties. It's kind of funny how it makes like this little pyramid shape. I guess just I'm telling you it's not intentional, but I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I feel like this is kind of accurate, right? You had a lot of really nice. The only things I will say is like a lot of the older Call of Duties are the ones in the higher tiers, which to me I think is kind of saying of how they're turning the game a little bit more around, right? Um, could how the way they were doing it before was a little bit better, but yeah, I feel like this is a fair ranking. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and subscribe and like.